Here
Ready?
we go.
All right, that wasn't as
I was behind you.
You were a little bit behind.
I was
You
slow.
were a little slow.
It's been a good weekend.
Has it? Okay, good. Well, you know what?
Cheers, man. It's always good to see you.
And welcome to Offside with Haas and McGuire. I'm Haas.
I'm McGuire.
All right, we got some stuff to talk about. The first
Oh my
thing,
God, so much.
Oh, but the first thing we got to talk about, to be honest with you,
Okay.
is I've been really working hard. You know, I work hard at this, and,
Yes,
I'm
you
trying
do.
to find a way to monetize, to make money for us to do, so we can continue.
That would be
to
so
have
much fun.
The high quality of recording that we do all the time. And so I was discussing with somebody who, and they said, well, you know, you should do something where you add extra content or something like that, and people will pay extra. Like there's a thing that's called Patreon, or there's this thing called OnlyFans. And I said, like, isn't that like a porno thing? And they said, well, yeah, they use it for porno, but you could use it for anything. And so I thought to myself, well, maybe I can actually get filming of myself in the shower after hockey, right? And maybe people will either A, pay to see that, or B, not to see that.
Pay not to see.
Pay not to see
I
that.
see. Okay.
Right?
Yeah, all right.
And they can
Yeah.
see, they could see that, I've got the, the Malkin curve on my stick in the dressing room. I mean, you know what I mean?
Right,
So,
your
yeah,
hockey stick.
My hockey stick. I don't know
Yes.
what I have no idea what you guys are referring to. So that's one of the things I was thinking about. Also, we're looking to see there may be other ways to generate revenue.
Yeah.
One of the things that we're going to do, which we're going to be doing, we can mention this now. We're going to actually film an episode in a bar in New Brunswick. Are we not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is it's almost like it's news to you.
Well, I didn't know you were 100% confirmed you were coming.
Well, you know what? I figure
But
either
this
way.
is great.
Yes. I think I'm 100% confirmed that I will be in attendance. We'll film an episode. We're going to interview some guys. We're going to have. It's going to change the landscape of hockey and how it's covered around the world.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be doing on-site insight.
Providing some
We're
insight,
we're
maybe.
providing some insight.
See
We're
how
going
the
to do
interviews go.
on-site shows in front of live audiences where people can ask us some questions as we go along. We'll have the Ask Liam section live.
Just a little background here, what's going on. I've been hired by a company called NHL Legends, which is owned by a man named Steve Walton.
Okay.
He's a Maritimer. He's a New Brunswick guy. St. John, I believe, is actually his hometown. But we're starting in on a First Nation reserve called King's Clear,
Okay.
which is, as I understand it, is a part of or something that I don't know Fredericton very well, but it's in the Fredericton area.
Okay.
And that's our first of 5 consecutive nights where there is charity hockey being played. They've got, I think, I sent you the list, at least
Yeah.
8 or 9.
Oh, there's at least
7, 8, or
yeah.
9
Yeah.
former NHLers being coached by Chris Nyland. Guys like Stefan Richer, Ron Duguay.
Yeah, Duguay with the hair.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the hair. He still has some left, and he
got-
looks
yeah.
good still. He looks good.
Now, is he still married to that
I-
model? What's her name?
I don't know.
Carol Alt?
yeah.
Was he married to Carol
No,
Alt?
no, he's not, because Carol Alt is with Alexi Yashin.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. So
Yeah,
that's right.
She bounced from
Yeah.
player to player.
Either way, she probably still looks good. Maybe she's the subject of a puck bunny down the line.
Well, she very
She
much should,
very
be,
should
for
be.
sure.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
could-
she's legit in the sense of
Of being
she's
a-
marrying
Yeah, she married a
hockey
hockey
players,
player.
and she's been
Yeah.
involved with hockey players, so I guess
Yeah.
in that sense. But we're going to be in New Brunswick for 5 consecutive nights. You're thinking of coming out. Now you're saying right on the show that you're coming out. And I've talked to Steve, and he said, no problem, we can interview the
Okay.
guys.
So,
It's
yeah.
just the timing of it, because every night is the game.
Right, absolutely.
So I don't think we're going to get the guys in a bar.
Is what I was thinking. Are you saying we're not going to do that? Because I'm not fucking coming if we're not going to a bar.
Well, listen. When can we do it? I'm working every night.
Really, and let me just get straight. Liam McGuire's not going to go to a bar afterwards. I just want this to be for the record, on the record.
No.
Okay.
I
You
will
not be heading to a bar after.
On the record, I will be drinking every night.
Right.
However, as I'm led to believe, a number of the evenings, possibly them all,
Right.
is we're staying at the arena. and they've made provisions at the arena for us.
We were staying at the arena?
Well, that night after
Okay,
the game.
well, we'll film at the arena then.
Yeah.
We'll film at the
so
arena.
I don't know what this whole thing's... Anyway, all that to say, you're coming out. We're going to get the guys on camera. It just may not be in the environment that we're suggesting.
Okay.
We're the secondary. Offside with Haas and McGuire is the secondary to what they're doing out there, obviously. And
secondary to who, though? Because I'll tell you something right now. Duguay, he's thinking we're number one. Like, Duguay's saying, like, how am I supposed to compete with Haas and McGuire?
Yeah.
He's saying the same thing.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, so am I.
I hope you make it out.
Yeah.
And if we can do it, because I will be gone for 5 days, and where we would do
be shooting a show.
So this is Chris's idea. He's had all of the best ideas since we started doing this have come from him. I'm being perfectly honest.
Well,
they have.
You know,
you designed the Ireland trip. You're the one who designed the show. You've set it up the way it is. Everything about it. Now you're talking about coming out, which I think would be great, and Steve's all for it. It's just we may, unfortunately, end up doing something kind of benign and just getting them in a hotel lobby or something.
Listen, I'll tell you something. There's nothing benign about a hockey player in a hotel room. I think Batherson can speak to that.
God almighty.
Okay. I said it out loud. What the hell? I mean, come on. Everybody else has been talking about it. Which
the Malkin hockey stick in the dressing room, the Batherson in the hotel room. Okay.
All right. So let's go on to something else. Something we failed to talk about last time, but we got to give an update.
I got something I got to bring back too.
Okay. So we'll just wait. Go like this. The first one we talk about is our Hosey and Brown hockey pool.
Yes.
Okay. We got to give an update, and we got to honestly. We got to understand that the grand prize of the trip to Ireland is courtesy of Hosey and Brown.
That's right.
And so that's what makes this whole thing work, is that Hosey and Brown is covering that cost so that everybody gets... So believe me, it is incredibly valued by us, but should be valued by everybody watching. And so I wanted to give an update as to where things are in the pool.
And thank you for saying that. That's Rod Brown, business started by his dad and Mr. Hosey in 1976. So it's not even a business that goes back to the 30s or 40s or anything. Started in the 70s.
Yeah.
Rod actually left high school to go work for his dad. He got his grade 12. In those days, we went to grade 13. I'm sure you well remember.
Yeah.
And now they're a thriving automotive part business. They've partnered up with Regional Automotive. They do an outstanding job. And when I asked them to jump in, help sponsor part of the show, and he came in on the hockey pool.
Yeah.
And as a result, somebody, and this is the thing, and you've said it repeatedly, Chris, mostly when it's just you and I talking, not on camera. But when we take those pictures in Ireland next fall, and somebody's going to be in the pictures that's on a free freaking trip.
Yeah.
Free trip for winning a hockey pool. And we're going to blow this thing sky high next year when we show that. And even still, those who do come with us, however many we are,
16.
Well, we're hoping for that.
We're hoping for 16.
Yeah.
So I had a number of people. I had actually about 16 or 17 people who inquired initially.
Yep.
Without any about coming on the trip. So there are, not including us and our winner, of course.
Yep.
3 people who have said they're definitely in.
So we're 6 minimum already.
So 6
minimum
we haven't
already,
even really pumped it. We haven't pumped it. Not to mention that those other guys, they haven't forked out the money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're not coming until you've forked out your deposit, right?
Yeah.
So I'm only counting people who have forked out their deposit.
No, I hear you.
That's where
totally hear you, totally get it, and totally love it. And I think as we do get through Christmas, I think you'll see a few more people will come across of our list already. And then, like I said, I haven't even solicited publicly for this at all.
Not for the trip, but you've been soliciting for many years.
Yes, of course. I'm sorry. You say anything, man, it's quicksand here. Like anything at all, you're dead in the water.
Yeah.
You're dead in the water. But yes.
Yes.
By the way, you're correct, though.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's, so listen. So here's the update. So in the number 3, I'm in number 4 position. I'm 4th.
With your test group, right?
No.
You're legit one.
My test group has dropped, but my legit group has gone up. I'm in 4th position, which means it means fuck all because I can't win.
Right.
Yeah.
And we already made a decision. If one of us were to win,
it
goes to number 2.
It goes to the one behind, which I wish I could just choose who I would give it to, but we've
can't.
already made that.
Yeah,
we can't change that.
Yeah.
So I'm in number 4 position, right?
Okay.
Okay. In number 3 position.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you guys is Brody Constantine. Do you know Brody?
No.
Okay, construction guy, and
Okay.
so he's just a viewer then. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's in, and
Okay.
he's number 3.
Beauty.
Okay. Number 2.
Yeah.
Still hanging in at number 2.
Yeah.
Is Chuck Yates.
Come on.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, he's there.
God.
Like and
I was just talking about his dad today
that
or
right?
yesterday. His late father.
Yeah.
What a great man he was.
Yeah.
Phil Yates.
You know what? He was a teacher.
He was a teacher. He taught me at St. Leonard's and he taught me at St. Pius.
Yeah.
And he was a larger-than-life individual, booming voice, big man, very athletic in his youth, very, very good athlete in his youth, and came and was an outstanding teacher. Anybody who had him would have him in their top list of favorite teachers.
Well,
anybody who had him.
And I'm sure, and you know what? And they had a really, really quite a nice little house here in Manitic.
They did.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this. So and I know Chuck. And I know Chad.
Yeah.
Okay, and I know the kids.
Yeah.
Right. So the kids. So Chuck's kids.
And
So
Robin.
You want to know? You want to talk about someone who can hit a golf ball. Okay, those boys. Okay.
Wow, they're like 6'5", especially.
Well, it's ridiculous.
Chad is
So
one
it's like
strong dude, man.
You know what? So they can.
So
hit
is Chuck.
They can hit it. They
Chuck.
can hit a golf ball, and that's actually frustrating. Because I think I hit a long ball, and I do relative to. I don't know.
Well, you're playing hickory
12-year-olds.
sticks and you're still moving it out there, 200 and change with equipment from the 1930s.
That's right.
Like when I played with you that day, a legit birdie on 10 that you made.
That's right.
You hit a couple of pretty decent drives, man.
Yeah,
With
and I was off
from
that
the
day.
1930s.
And I had a rough day that day too. That was
wow,
but you know
golf.
what? Yeah, listen. It's a challenge. I'm not sure whether I'm going to bring.
Well, I was just going to ask you, what are you going to bring?
I haven't decided.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but I will be in Ireland before that anyway. And
I'll tell you what I'm going to
gonna
have.
mine.
I'm going to have a new set of irons, baby.
No way.
Yes, sir. First time in since 2011. These are
Wow.
12 years old irons I'm playing with. So I'm getting new irons.
Oh, fucking boo-hoo, 12 years old. Try 90 years old.
Okay. I couldn't do it.
Okay.
I couldn't do it. Anyway.
Okay. So, now, and number 1
Yeah.
is Michael Arnott. Do you know him? Arnett? Michael Arnett?
Mike Arnett. How come
See,
I know that name?
Well, see,
Sounds familiar.
I don't really know the guy, but he's obviously another one, So he's number 1 right now, currently,
Okay.
and has been for a little bit. So he's doing quite well.
And the Hosey and Brown
Hockey
pool on
Yeah.
offside.
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 That's the Montreal Canadian. Offside
Offside.
with Oz and Maguire.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. I'm Oz. Okay, so that was what I wanted to talk about. That was an important
Right on.
thing.
Good call
So-
by you.
So now I want to talk about something that I'm pissed off about.
Okay.
Okay, so the NHL comes down with and it leads to our next thing too.
Yeah.
Comes down with a decision, a punitive action against the Ottawa Senators, okay, for a misleading trade, I guess we'll call it that, where they failed to provide the no trade information to the group they were trading, even though they never traded them for another friggin' 9 months after this. Okay, they could have got it from there on, but whatever.
The whole thing is
So they got
convoluted.
a first-round draft pick. Ottawa loses a first-round draft pick.
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
and that goes to Vegas. Is that correct?
No.
What happened? Where did it go?
No, it's just gone. It's just
It's not. It's gone. Well, that's
right.
not compensation to Vegas then. Like that's kind of horseshit.
No, well, it's punitive against the Senators.
Right.
And yeah, at least that's my understanding anyway.
Personally, what I would do, I would pick me in the first round. I would say the new GM. We picked Chris Haas from like Manitic,
Greeley?
men's league, Manitic Greeley.
Yeah.
Okay, men's league. Okay, as our number 1 pick. And by the way, we're gonna forfeit that. Okay, that's the one we're forfeiting. And then you know what? A big fuck you to the NHL.
Yeah.
See, here's why I say fuck you to the NHL. Fuck you, Gary Bettman. Okay, you cover up a sexual fucking predator with the Chicago Blackhawks, then you give him a generational fucking number 1 draft pick.
Well, he didn't give it to him.
He did. He
No,
gave them
come
it.
on. Please don't be that guy.
No.
You
Come
don't
on.
think it was rigged.
They should have penalized Chicago with a fucking that draft pick. That shouldn't have been. I know the lottery. That's fine. The lottery's the lottery.
Well, I
But they
disagree.
should- So you're saying that
disagree.
what they did was not as bad as what
No,
Dorian did?
it's apples and oranges. It's apples and oranges. There's no punitive measures in place for
covering up sexual assault.
Right. There's no punitive measures in terms.
Well, they
of,
fucking got to do it. That's their job. That's his job.
Okay. Well, bring that to the table then as a discussion point. Like not in retrospect or in hindsight, because Ottawa, who you cheer for, get their hand slapped here because they made a clerical error. And look, it's one of two ways. It's either ignorance or malice,
right?
And you pay the price, which they have, and it's ridiculous how convoluted it is because, as you correctly stated, how Dadonov, now as you say the name, as he bounced around from other teams after the Anaheim trade was nixed and it moved on, and like the new owner of the Ottawa Senators say, why would it take so long? Well, he produced a 73-page report. Took a year and a half. None of that makes sense. It all sucks. Yeah. It's all brutal. But bringing in the Chicago scenario to me is ridiculous.
I think it is.
And
I think it is. I think
we'll have to agree to disagree.
Well, you know what? We do. But I'm going to say one last thing. Okay. I think that this penalty to Ottawa.
Yeah.
Okay. Even after it's new ownership, it's new everything. They're doing this. This is merely an example as to why the Canadian teams are fucked by the NHL, okay? And why they care about the U.S. markets only. They care about Chicago. They care about Arizona. They care about Vegas, okay? And the money that comes out of that.
Well, Edmonton got 4 first overall picks.
Yes, but
including Connor McDavid.
Yes, but Edmonton didn't have somebody. Listen.
Okay, so you're focusing on the Chicago sexual.
I'm focusing on that. That's a big thing because that was.
By the way, another player is filed.
About that?
Yeah, a second one.
Yeah,
in Chicago. So.
Oh yeah, there'll be. Listen, there's gonna be more. But you know what? And yet it's covered up. It was covered up by the organization, and that is where now. Well,
it cost It cost everybody their job that was there. So at least they.
But it didn't cost the organization.
The whole thing was handled brutally. I'm not disagreeing with you there.
Yeah.
I totally agree. It's reprehensible what happened. It's indescribable and it's reprehensible. However, there's no mechanism in place where you go and make the punitive measures hockey related because there was a sexual conviction, allegation, discovery, all the stuff that went on there in Chicago with Beach and the whole 9 yards. There's no punitive measures hockey-wise. There's nothing.
Oh no, there's punitive measures hockey-wise. You know what it is? You bring a Crowder back and you pummel the shit out of the guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This should not be happening. This should and okay. The NHL is going to take care of it, and inside they're going to do all that stuff. At the end of the day, all the guys involved in that. Okay, all the way from Kenville to Bowman to everybody who was involved in that.
Yeah.
Okay, they should get the living shit kicked out of them.
Okay, that's great to say. It's never going to happen. That's 30 seconds of your life you can't get back, even using the air to use that. Say that. We all would love to see that. It's so reprehensible.
Okay, well then we'll sell tickets. That's how we'll make money. We'll sell tickets. We'll invite those guys. What do you think?
Yeah, well,
it's for only fans, right, or whatever that is.
Yeah.
What do you think?
All I know is that I'm a parent, as are you. And if you don't want to die, don't hurt my children. That's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Yet it happens all the time. Mm-hmm. And this is the reality of it. And this thing happened, and it's reprehensible because there still is an old boy bad culture in hockey that they're trying to work out. Hockey Canada,
they don't. You know what? I don't think they are. I don't think they are. I think we saw an example of that.
No, they most definitely are. Do you not think every single other team in the league had an immediate review after what happened in Chicago?
Yeah, but what happened? Let's go back in history and talk about players who played. Let's just say you were playing out west in the 80s and your name was Theo Fleury. Mm-hmm. Okay, or your name was Sheldon
Kennedy.
Yeah. Or these
sexually abused guys, public profiles, what happened, and everything else.
And
that's 40 years ago.
And they circled the wagons.
40 years ago.
But they circled the wagons and protected the perpetrator over and over and over again until it was undisputable. And then they...
Not disagreeing with you, but it was 40 years ago. I don't look the checks and balances. Look, you just finished coaching a few years ago as I did.
Yeah.
And even then, what's happened in just a few short years since you and I have stopped coaching minor hockey, the amount of checking and boxes you have to check off to be a coach, to be able to be in the room, to be able all these things.
Yeah.
Fact is, if you're going to be involved as a parent today in amateur sport, there's a lot of boxes you have to check off. The punishment will probably never fit the crime based on how you and I see it as old school guys. And yeah, look, they're not going to bring Bowman and Quenville to a beat the shit out of me match.
A barn. Who was it?
Brian Burke.
Brian Burke.
And Kevin Lowe.
Exactly. Like, come on.
You want to talk about selling tickets? I know people understand how tough Brian Burke is. I mean, he played pro hockey in the late 70s. And the first time he ever had Paul Holmgren, it's a great story. And when first time I met Brian Burke, I told him that I loved that story. It was in a summer hockey in Minnesota. They're both Americans.
Okay.
And they met playing summer hockey. It was a bench clearing brawl, and they fought each other. They didn't know. Neither one knew who each other was. And they had a hell of a brawl, and that's how they met. Of course, they ended up both having pretty significant careers in the NHL in a number of different capacities. And Holmgren, of course, went on to have a pretty good career as a player in the National Hockey League. Brian never did. He got out. He was a lawyer and went that way, player agent. And we all know the story. Anyway, point is that he got into it with Kevin Lowe verbally, and then the offer was to maybe settle it in a barn.
I think it's great.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. But that stuff will never happen, you know. The last bare knuckle fight that sold for tickets in Canada was Jackie Parker, in like 1956 or 57 in Toronto. It's a very famous story. And there's other guys that fought bare
listen,
knuckle.
I'll tell you something. There were a few altercations at the French school in Coniston after school. You know what? Maybe they didn't sell tickets.
Hey, look, the last show I told you about Paul Rushlaw and Stu McKay.
Exactly.
I'm writing all about that. And I sent a message to the guys, and I sent them the video of our show.
Oh, yeah.
And I put the timestamp on it, and I said, Stu, I'm not trying to embarrass you, but this is what I said about it, and I am going to write it all. And I sent it to Paul, too. This is 4 years later. Paul's still upset about the whole thing, eh?
Well,
anyway, we digress.
It is
what it is.
Let's move on. We got some.
I gotta
say
something else too, Chris. I didn't put down. I want to get this off my chest. The kicking incident where Johnson died in Nottingham, playing for Nottingham in England. When we did our show on that, it had just happened, right? And of course, the show airs. You post it. It's a few days later. And by then, of course, you know, police are, I don't know if they've closed that investigation formally yet or not. They're investigating. And again, this maybe is something we're on the opposite side of the fence on. But I believe that kick was deliberate. And I don't think he obviously deliberately tried to kill him. I don't think he deliberately even tried to get the blade up to the neck area. But what has surfaced, Chris, since you and I did the last show, is, unfortunately, I'm not going to say the guy's name. You want to Google it. It's all over Google who this guy was. But they found video of him doing the exact same thing when he played junior in the OHL. Almost an identical type of kick, number one. Number two, guys led every team he's played on. Penalty minutes, suspensions, reprehensible acts, this, that, and the other. It's kind of a guy that's been skating on the other side of the ice. Bad pun intended here. Yeah. And not intended, but just part of it. And I just wanted to get that off my chest. Because problem is, you know, we tape these and they play a few days later. Even the guys I was watching Hockey Night in Canada with last night, they love our show. They watch it all. They think you're great. Oh, by the way.
And what about the women? What do they think?
Well, you know, there weren't any there because none of them want to be with us. But they said it's tough sometimes because everything's happened by the time
that's right
we post it. Yeah. And so that had happened, and I didn't really say what I wanted to say. And I don't care. I saw everything on social media. I saw the incredible divide it was of people thinking it's absolutely 1,000% accidental. I watched it, Chris. I watched it so many times. And it's my belief that he swung his leg around intentionally trying to hit him with a skate.
So here's my thought. Hey, no, and you know what? That's certainly a theory. I fall on another side, which is I can't imagine. And now this is naivety maybe, but I can't imagine somebody fucking doing that. Like having that, like doing, because you know.
I think you need to read up on the guy's background a little bit.
Well, and that is potential.
To be fair, anybody who hasn't.
Well, he's been the subject of a lot of racial slurs since. Okay.
Well, that's unfortunate, but
and that is and
pales in comparison to a life
slicing someone's head off.
So
you know, but that being said, I can't imagine somebody doing that. Now, maybe he is. And I don't know. I don't want to speculate because I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
Okay. But
do you think Matt Cook deliberately hit Erik Karlsson in the back of the skate with his skate?
You know what? I don't think so.
I do.
You think he did?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know what? Again, and I look who we're talking about. We're talking about one of the most reprehensible players in the last 20 years in the NHL.
Right. No,
he
absolutely.
ended Mark Savard's career.
Yeah, no question. But
he ended. I mean,
I can't.
Eric's so lucky that
why would you know what? And we
because you're not thinking you're going to sever an Achilles tendon when you do it.
So what do you think you're doing?
You're thinking I'm going to cause some damage. You know, I'm going to hurt him. I'm going to deliberately hurt him. You know. It's like when Bobby Clark slashed Harlamov in 72.
Like that was coming to my head, right?
I'm going to deliberately hurt him because Harlamov gave him a little shot down in the end, in his end. On a scale of 1 to 10, it was about a 1.5.
Okay.
But that was enough to set off the tumblers in Flin Flon, Manitoba. Okay? And Bobby chased him down.
Yeah.
And reeled back.
To be fair, he was in a diabetic rage.
Probably. Didn't get his insulin. and gave him a little tap, right? Harlamov never missed a shift. Sat out game 7, played game 8. We all know the ankle wasn't broken now. The doctors confirmed it and everything else. Doesn't matter. It was a vicious slash. Yeah. Clark got 12 minutes and penalties for it.
Yeah.
For the slash. Like, he was penalized immediately. Yeah. Severely by 1972 standards.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
So, regardless, I don't think the outcome is always thought of, but the thought to hurt is there. I believe this man in Nottingham on Johnson deliberately wanted to hurt him. That's my belief. It was not accidental.
Well, and I really hope that that's not the case, because that would...
You're never going to be able to prove it. You're never going to be able to prove it.
No, but then...
Look at Melnick's forensic investigation on Matt Cook did.
Well, you know, I mean, you know what? You may be right. You can never prove it. And you know what? Here's the thing. If that is the case, then that guy will go to hell. I mean, at the end of the day, you know. And
is there really a hell, though?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Is there?
Absolutely, there is. You know what? And
is that where the Leaf fans are?
No, you listen. Leaf fans, hell is going to an Ottawa Senators game against the Toronto Maple Leafs with the Leafs fans there.
Oh,
that's how.
Yeah.
But let's listen. Speaking of hell,
okay,
and I can say so. We are not doing the This Week in Hockey History on this episode.
Okay.
But what we are going to do is we're going to talk about the most important day, frankly, in the calendar year. If you want to talk historically.
Yeah.
Okay. November the 11th.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
Remembrance Day.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And we're going to talk. We're both wearing our poppies, which is actually it started out as a Canadian symbol, but it's used in the UK as well. Mm-hmm. And it's a symbol of in Flanders Fields. And the poem by John McCrae, a Canadian, who wrote that poem while his best friend had just been killed.
Right.
And he sat, and ironically, I tell this story to anyone who listens, but when Ev and I were in Europe, we went to the site.
Yeah.
And Evan recited in Flanders Fields at the exact site where it was written.
Wow.
And he was probably about 12 years old. He was over there for hockey.
Yeah.
Like we were in Sweden. We stopped in Belgium and France and on the way back. And we saw that, and we saw Vimy, where my grandfather was and dug the trenches there.
Yeah.
And we
never been.
Experienced. You know what? You know what? I swear to God, the only time I've used the word awesome and awe-inspiring, and actually it had the proper gravitas, was seeing the monument at Vimy.
Yeah.
It is colossal, it's spectacular, and it is such an important part of Canadian maturity.
Yeah.
And as a nation.
No question.
Maturity.
No question.
And so a lot of the people who have fought in the First World War, certainly, I think almost everyone. I don't know if there's any First World War veterans still alive.
No, there's not.
Second World War veterans are there's very few of them, dwindling numbers.
Fast.
Okay, Korea. we moved forward. There were Canadians who fought in Vietnam as well, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
There were
25,000 or so, I believe.
And we have, and all of the conflicts, aside from that, everybody, from the heart and soul of my being, you're respected beyond, you know what? You're bigger than Bobby Orr. I'll be honest. Like that's, it's bigger than Bobby Orr. Yeah. And I don't know what else I could say. And Americans use this all the time. Thank you for your service. Like they do this like everywhere they go. It's thank you for the service, and it doesn't mean anything, right? But I truly mean this, and it's once a year that we do it, and so we need to really put focus on that. I know I'm kind of bringing everybody down with this, but
I don't think so. I think a lot of people who ever do watch, hopefully it's resonating with them. I think there's my senses anyway. There's been a resurgence in the last number of years. I go to the Manotick Cenotaph every November 11th. Well, I went downtown after unfortunately the man was guarding the unknown soldier was killed, and then the incident where the other Army personnel was killed as well. It was two very quickly together. Right. So I went downtown for that one. But I'm always in Manotick, and the crowds have really swelled in the last 8 or 10 years, I find. And I look forward to it. I meant to bring my hat in, and I forgot it.
You have a hat?
I got a hat. I bought it from the head office of the Canadian Legion is in Ottawa.
That's right.
It's in Canada.
That's right, yeah.
And Dean Brown, the longtime play-by-play voice, the Ottawa Senators, posted a picture of a black hat. Has a beautiful thing, lest we forget. I was so taken by it. I messaged him. He said, well, you can get it online. Went online. They didn't have any black hats, so I didn't want the red one. So anyway, a guy online from the Legion sends me an email and saying, email this guy who works at head office. I sent him an email. Emails me back, says, give me a call. I give him a call. He says, I got 2 black hats left. I bought it over the phone, and I said, where? So did you ship? He says, yeah, I can ship. Where are you? He says, I'm in Canada. You're in Canada? I live in Osgood. I'll be there tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I went and picked it up.
That's
so
great.
I got it. I wore it all weekend, and I just forgot to bring it in. But anyways, I got this.
Yeah.
And so thanks for I thank you for what you say. I mean, your grandfather fought. My great uncle was injured in the Ortona battle in '43, Christmas campaign. And my mom's uncle, and that's my only direct family connection.
Oh, see, so my sister is now, she's a judge in the military right now.
Yeah.
But she was in combat. I mean, this is a woman. She was in Afghanistan, and she was in the Persian Gulf. She was in Kosovo. When I went over to entertain troops, I've already told you the story.
I don't think so.
You gotta. I wish I had a picture of my sister, because she's about 5'6". And blonde, and like she's Private Benjamin, right? Like she's that kind of, and she's an attractive lady, okay? And so I'm over there, and we go over, and there's a bit of a kerfuffle. Things get on where we have to be evacuated, and all these things happen. And so we're waiting on a bus on this tarmac, okay? And now I've been with these. There's been dancers, and I'm the comedian, right? I'm the host, and everything, and musicians and everybody, and we've had a wonderful time. But I have a personality, right? So as I went over there, I said, hey, listen, my sister's here somewhere. Oh, no, you won't be able to reach her. So anyways, doesn't she get on the bus?
The bus you're on?
The bus I'm on.
Okay.
I look up and I see my sister. So I run from the back of the bus, because I was at the back of the bus because that's where the cool kids are.
Of course.
Okay. So I go to the back, I run to the front of the bus. I go, San, and I hug her. So everybody on the bus thinks I'm just hitting on this blonde girl, right? Yeah. So so I see my sister over there. Anyways, we make our way back. We flew back to.
That's amazing. You've never told me this.
Yeah, to England together, and she gave me shit the whole way home.
For hugging her?
No, for not calling her and telling her that I was going to be there.
Oh, okay.
Because she never got to see me perform for the troops.
Oh.
Like, she was upset. Yeah. And I said, well, I asked the liaison officer if he could reach. He goes, oh no, there'd be no way. You know what I mean? And they didn't want to do that, right? So anyways, yeah. So my sister still serves. Her husband, her ex-husband, and her current husband served. I have uncles, like very, very strong military background. My grandfather actually not only served in World War I in the trenches and did all that, but in World War II he served on the home front for the military in Halifax in a logistical type of role.
Let's toast them, man. Let's toast them all.
Yes,
you know, and what a great this week in hockey to turn to.
Exactly.
November the 11th. I don't have any of those stories. The only thing I do have that's incredibly unique is I'm the only civilian to ever carve the turkey at JTF. Only one ever. And that's our top army, our top military personnel. 3 battalions of 200 each, 600, always one out of country, 2 in, and I spoke there twice, but once was at Christmas time, so coming up, obviously the anniversary of that, and I got an opportunity to do that. I spent the whole day with those guys. I drank in their private bar downstairs called 4 Points. 4 Points where the barracks where they stay. Most of them go home, but some do stay there when they're training, different training stuff. Anyway, I got the whole tour of the place, and I carved the turkey.
Hey,
I'm pretty proud of that. Proud of that.
I think, you know what, that's pretty impressive. Okay, so let's talk about some other stuff. So I led into this thing. We were going to talk about, I talked about the whole first round draft pick, which led to the loss of Dorian's job.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so...
should give a quick comment on that.
Yeah, please. What are your thoughts on Dorian losing his job?
Well, it's much like there's a strong possibility by the time this show airs, whether you play it on Tuesday or Wednesday, that the coach may be gone too. So, DJ's definitely going next. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He's probably going to be the next, not calling them sacrificial lambs, because I think Pierre had to go. By the way, the press conference from Michael Angelauer was absolutely classic stuff. I mean, he basically gave a verbal punch in the mouth to Bettman and company on a number of instances. And how he responded.
And you know what? And this is what my concern is that Ottawa and Angelauer are the NHL's bitches right now. The NHL's going to do, they're testing them. They're seeing how far they can get away with this because, you know that Melnick would have thrown a shit fit.
Yeah,
and Angelauer is a little more, he's a little more guarded, he's a little more strategic.
I don't find him guarded at all in his presser.
No. Oh, I thought he was, listen.
Oh, God. The comments that he made are probably nothing more significant than saying how hypocritical it was. He didn't use that word. But trotting out the fact that Wayne Gretzky's doing, betting commercials and House Pinto, young guy money. Like, I thought everything he said was so fresh. I don't know what Melnick would. Melnick was a train wreck on a good day. So I don't know what he would have said. It's hard really to say. Somehow he would have twisted it around. Oh, he's going to move the team again or something. I don't know what he would have said, but I don't think he would have said anywhere near what Angelauer said. In my opinion, I have not heard an owner like Angelauer make those statements in a long, long, long time.
No,
in my opinion,
I think that he did it eloquently. I think that's one of the things that I would give him that.
I think he did it in a way where he probably avoided any potential repercussions.
Right.
Even though technically Bettman works for the owners. So in essence, he works for Angelauer.
Yeah, but he works for 30 other owners.
He works for 31 others. Yeah. So you've got to be, regardless. Dorian had to go. I think at the end of the day, his tenure here in hindsight will be showing exactly what it was. A lot of good drafting, some good trades, some horrible trades, some good luck, some good fortune, how the Carlson thing worked out, and you end up with the 2 best players in that draft with Stützle and Sanderson, notwithstanding how everybody's playing right now. Right. We can talk about that. But, the thing is that Pierre Dorian had to go. There's just no doubt about it. And I think DJ is going to follow him out the door unless they absolutely have an about face here in the next week or two. He gets a stay of execution. But
you know what? The players, and this is going to lead to another thing we should talk about, but the players have not given up on DJ. The players still believe
that's very apparent.
And that was apparent in what Tkachuk said afterwards. And so I know I hate to jump into that, but to bring that all in together.
Yeah.
If the players...
Well, it's a good segue because Dorian got let go, and now the speculation is, and I think correctly, that probably DJ is going to follow him out the door, Chris.
But if he still has the players' confidence,
right?
Then I don't know, man.
No, but here's the problem. Here's the problem. You can have all the confidence in the world, but inevitably, if your systematic approach to coaching isn't measuring up to standards, and over a period of time, I think it's shown that it is not.
Okay.
Then I think you're running into a situation where, look, maybe you're just not the right coach either for this job or whatever as a head coach in the NHL. This has been a good seasoning for you, perhaps down the road. If he is let go, he gets another chance.
Right.
There isn't a coach in the NHL other than a handful in NHL history that were never fired.
Oh, no, you're hired to be fired.
Many, and in fact, most of the Stanley Cup winning coaches, almost every one of them started elsewhere. So inevitably, every dog has their day. You know the old story. You can't trade 20 guys. You're gonna let go of coach.
Right.
And what's happening here now with the cancel culture and the mob mentality, the chanting last night, which Brady addressed, which is a whole other story.
Yeah, you know what? And I'm going to address it.
Sure, well, let's do it. That's why we got a show. So
I think, you know what? Chicken shit, cowardice, losers.
Yep.
Who go and do that, and to say that, like, honestly, you've never walked a mile in somebody's moccasins, to quote a thing. You've done that, and yet you have the audacity to do that. I think it's horrible. And I said that about when they booed DeBrincat when he came back.
Yeah.
Okay? I think, you know what? Booing and this, what do they call it? Virtue signaling horse shit that we have in this world. You know what? Fucking stop it. Like, it's horse shit.
Hey, it's never stopping.
And you know what they need?
You know
what these people need? They boo.
Yeah.
You know what? Why are you booing?
You know what else they do? You know what else they do?
What?
They pay.
They do pay.
They pay.
Absolutely.
The NHL is a gate-driven league.
That's right.
That's why everything costs $9,000 in there.
That's right.
So it's a gate-driven league. So you pay your money. Look, I would never do it, and clearly you wouldn't.
Right.
I would never stand there and chant "Fire DJ." I would never have booed DeBrincat. And when I went in Montreal and some incidents happened when stuff was going on, and then Jean Beliveau had to play on the big screen. I won't go all the way down the path, but I was with my son Rory, and I handed him my keys, my car keys, and I said, "The odds are, son, I'm not going to be able to finish the game here because I'm getting into it with these guys in behind me. So here's your great aunt's number.
That's right.
I know you're too young to drive, but keep my keys safe, and I'll phone Maureen, and I'll find you somehow later on because I'm gonna probably get booted out of here in about 30 seconds. Cooler heads prevailed, but I'm like you. We're very similar. It's probably why I wanted to do the show with you, and why I think hopefully there's synergy and people are picking up on it. Bottom line is, there's also, from me anyway, I look at somebody who pays carte blanche, man.
Well, you know what? No,
Short of throwing shit on the ice and stuff, but
but because you pay,
you can say or yell anything you want.
Because you pay does not give you the right to
boo?
blanket that.
Listen, I disagree.
I don't even think it was a booable performance.
No,
let's be honest. What are your expectations, okay, of this team? And
they're unrealistic right now by this fan base. You have to understand, Chris, the mentality of the hockey fan today is so much less than what it was a generation ago. They don't understand the game. You know why?
How can they not? Because
they don't play it anymore. There's nobody, the majority don't play. They don't know the nuances. They don't know the intricacies. All they know is they see, they're blind. They got the blinders on. They see their fan, they see their player skate up the ice. They're oblivious to what's going on, how that player is being defended, any system or style that's going on. Right. Everything that happens up the ice, what's gone on in a given play. Don't realize how close Ottawa was to making that a one-goal game last night before it was, before they pulled their goal. They ended up losing. I know we're taping, so I say last night. But I mean, point is, the average fan, or certainly those that boo,
right,
and yell to fire DJ and all of that, believe me, if you were able just to isolate that group, whatever it was, let's say it was 3,000 of them, or whatever it was.
Can we isolate them and then ship them somewhere?
Yes, absolutely.
Put them in a container and get them on a boat somewhere?
I guarantee you the overwhelming majority of any fan who would boo and who would scream at, or would say that, fire DeBrincat, which led to Brady's outburst in the dressing room, the overwhelming majority of them never played a game of hockey in their life.
And you're probably right.
Just my theory.
And here's the thing.
But they still pay the money, though. They pay the money. It's hard for me to go against saying that when these are hard. The price is to go in now, Chris. Yeah. It's so expensive.
Oh, absolutely. I am with you right there. Like, I'll be honest with you. That's one of my biggest challenges in going to a game, going to a live game nowadays. I love going to the rink. I love being at the rink. I love, I have a spot that I like to set. I had season tickets to the Sens for years and years.
Yeah, I did too the first few years.
And my season tickets were right where. So when I was young, about 14 years old, a scout essentially brought me to the Ottawa Civic Center to see the Russians playing the Canadian national team at the time.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we stood up, and you remember, like, well, you know how it is, but
Yeah.
the Civic Center, there's the low end,
Yeah.
right, and then you come around, and then there's the second tier, right? You have the two tiers.
I know.
But right, so in the corner,
Yeah.
right there, is where we stood. He said, "This is the best place to watch." He tells me.
That's where Brian Kilray watches from all the time.
So he says, "This is the best place to watch a game from." Okay, and then he said to me, "Now watch the Russia." He was telling, watch the Russia. Watch how the plays develop. Okay, and you watch the patterns.
Yeah.
Right, and it was like a light bulb clicked on, and I all of a sudden understood the game, right? And maybe people don't have that benefit, didn't have that benefit. Anyways, I want to go see the game. I digress, but it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a couple $100 to go to a game.
So I think you're
know,
entitled to boo. Really, I think you're
well,
entitled. I don't agree with it, but
Yeah.
I'm never gonna because I'll never do it. I don't agree with it, but I feel they're entitled to do it.
Yeah.
Well, obviously they are because they're not getting kicked out. It's not It's not
No,
against
yeah,
any
I
rule.
know. I know.
You know. So you don't like it.
I don't like it
I
at
don't
all.
like it. But I don't have a problem with them doing it in the bigger picture. Like if I was there,
Maybe I have too much respect for the players.
like my
and the
incident in
coaches.
Montreal happened because they were booing the national anthem.
Wow, yeah,
You know?
that's a different story.
And, yeah. So
And you know what?
all that French English thing when it flared
Yeah,
up
that
there,
was-
Jean Bello had to come on the screen. It was just such BS, and I told the guys behind me, I heard them talking about it. I said, guys, if you boo the anthem, none of us are gonna even see the start of the game. I'm telling you right now. But regardless, that was a bit different
Yeah, absolutely.
than people booing the Brinkat coming back, which
Right.
happens all the time in
I
hockey.
know.
You know, I mean, and the thing last night with DJ, I mean, you know the way it is now, and it's gone on here for years. Whether it's Ottawa or any other team, somebody becomes the whipping boy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no better example in hockey history than Larry Murphy in Toronto, who then shipped him out so he could go win another basketful of Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. They literally chased him out of Toronto. And this was even before social media.
Right.
And you know, all this guy did everywhere he went was win Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
And they chased him out. So, you know, I mean, that's the way it goes, man.
Yeah, I you know what? I suppose you're right. I don't have to like it, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
I don't like it either.
So next thing on our agenda, puck bunnies.
Right.
Puck bunnies, Zamboni boy, and we're gonna we'll do that.
Okay.
So listen, this will be titillating.
I really, 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 really like girls. Yeah, I really, 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 really like girls. I like girls. I like girls. I like girls.
Okay. All right. Welcome to the latest version of and he's cracking another beer of Puck Bunnies and later on Zamboni Boy.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna talk about our Puck Bunny of the week. And we've had a theme. We've had a couple of multiples, right? We had the Batgirl,
Yep.
right? Batwoman, whatever you want to call it. So
Batwoman.
there were several of them, and we decided which one we liked the best.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, we decided, we liked Linda Carter the best.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to introduce some pretty spectacular women, in your opinion. Okay.
Yes.
And so why don't you take the lead and say who
thank you.
your chosen Puck Bunny is?
Well, as we've discussed on the show, if you do actually watch this segment,
Oh, they watch.
yeah.
I get people say I love the Puck Bunny.
Do they? They do.
Yeah, I've had people
yeah,
say that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cards and letters. You have picked them all to date, and they've been great.
And to be fair,
Yeah.
what you're gonna pick, because I know you've told me,
Yeah.
I would have picked this. Like this, I'm in. I'm 100% in.
Well,
with that
well,
too.
here's the thing. Like the woman and the man that you picked from that show, Outlander.
Yeah, Outlander. Yeah, you didn't like them.
No, here's the thing. None of my friends, none of my peers, when I say none, I mean no one watches Outlander.
Well, then they're not getting laid. Not getting
However,
laid. That's the problem.
every single one of my peers and my friends
Yes, okay, yeah.
know Elizabeth Montgomery
Right.
and Barbara Eden.
Right, absolutely. Which is
Which is
I Dream of Jeanie,
right,
okay?
Yeah.
And Bewitched.
and Bewitched.
And which, by the way, the same show. So this is the same show. So
there is an element of it.
No, there's the same. So get this. So when Gracie was about 4 or 5 years old, okay?
Yeah.
4 or 5, she used to watch Jeanie, okay? And then Bewitched came on, right? And she goes, hey, look, it's Jeanie on a broomstick.
Okay.
And if you look at it, if you like the way the characterizations are, all of those things. I
hadn't thought of it that way, but
it's Jeanie on a broomstick,
well,
which I thought was like quite smart for a 4-year-old at the time.
Oh, for her, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
To recognize the similarities.
Unbelievable.
In the show.
No, that's unreal to notice that at 4. She's obviously watching reruns. These shows
absolutely,
ended decades before she was born.
But we tried to feed our kids on the good stuff.
I just want to say this. To me, at the time in the 60s, those 2 shows, Bewitched ran for 8 years, from 64 to 72.
Right.
So I didn't catch it at the start. I didn't start watching it until about 66 when we moved to the first line. Absolutely smitten with her. Smitten with her as a young boy. I thought she was
in
the most
Bewitched,
beautiful
you
one.
Yeah?
Yeah, I just absolutely... Elizabeth Montgomery.
Better than Barbara Eden. Like, Barbara Eden was smoking.
I know, and she wore a much skimpier and sexier outfit. But at 7, 8, or 9, or 10, that didn't, like, to me, I'm looking at the face value and just what was appealing to me. Hey, believe me, I got Barbara Eden on the list for a reason, because she was right there. Yeah. And you know, they both, by the way, came up to the profession honestly. Elizabeth Montgomery is a daughter of Robert Montgomery, who was an actor back in the day in the 30s, and she was born in Los Angeles, and she did numerous acting before she got hired for Bewitched, and as I said, ran for 8 years. And the only reason it went off the air is because she was married at the time
to the first Darren.
That was always the big thing, right? How can you go with 2 Darrens? Are you kidding me? You know, Dick York and Dick Sargent,
that's
right? Their real
both
names.
Dicks.
They were Dicks.
They were both real Dicks.
Anyway, sure. Elizabeth in real life was married to a director. They had a falling out. Marriage ended up ending. The show went off the air. They couldn't do it. That's the only reason they didn't go to a 9th year. She went on to other things. She died in 1995 at the age of 62 from colon cancer. Well, it had spread. Real tragic. Sad. She was 62 years old. Barbara Eden is still alive. Barbara Eden is the exact same age as my mother. She's 92.
Really?
Yeah, she's still alive. She's born in 1931 in Tucson, Arizona, I believe. And again, she was a beauty pageant winner in San Francisco in the 50s. Got into modeling, got into the TV shows. Like, everything happened very organically.
Yeah.
Did I Dream of Jeanie for 5 years. By far her most acclaimed thing in terms of recognition. And then went on to do a bunch of other things. But they are my pick.
Absolutely. You know, I'm going to add a third one in there because I don't know if you know, Jeanie had a sister, an evil sister.
Well, so did Samantha Stevens.
Well, that's right. Okay,
which was
the evil sister.
Well.
So I always
Serena.
I always found the evil sister way hotter, right? That's the Sabrina.
Serena was way hotter as well than Samantha was. Well, because she dressed different, acted different, had a different thing about her. But I think it took me probably a full year. It was her doing both roles. I had no idea. I'm a kid.
You didn't know it was both. You really?
I don't think at 8 or 9 years old I was able to piece that together. You know, I was watching as much Hockey Night in Canada as I could. I mean, that was you know, we had just moved to first line. It was big time. Watched the black and white TV. We didn't get our first color TV till 72.
Yeah.
So you must have been around the same.
Yeah, you know what? I remember when we got our first color TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so here's how it happened, to be honest with you. So it's a funny story. It's a hockey-related story. Okay? So Michael Fox, Jim Fox's older brother.
Yeah.
Okay? He's down in...
Not the actor Michael Fox.
No. So Michael Fox, he was down in Columbus playing in the American Hockey League for the Columbus Owls.
Okay, yeah, I've heard them. Yeah.
And somehow there was a game going to be televised where he was going to play. Okay. And so they were going to watch it on our TV. So they carry the TV out of the house and bring it out into the yard because you can get better reception, whatever it was. They were going to watch it out in the front of our yard, okay? So Clarence Fox is there. We're all there as kids. We're going to watch Michael, okay, play this game and whatever. And this was a big game, okay? And the TV blows up.
Oh.
Yeah, TV blows up. It didn't make it outside. For whatever happened, the TV just went poof like that. And so we never got to watch the game, or we watched part of it, but it never lasted. Okay, so then we needed a new TV.
Yeah.
So my dad goes down to the local furnishing store.
Yeah.
Run by, I'm going to just say they were an Italian family.
This isn't Coniston.
Yeah. Okay.
I love it.
Zuliani's. We went to Zuliani's Home Furnishing.
Yeah.
And he's well. He got it's a TV.
Yeah.
A color TV. It was the first color TV. Color TV, floor model, everything like that, all that stuff. Okay. And they came and they delivered it. Okay, right around Christmas time and all that stuff. And I'm not going to say that they, that they were involved in other industries. Okay. But
okay.
But they never. My dad never ever paid for that TV.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
They would just fell off the back of a truck, I guess, or whatever it was. They delivered the TV, and I remember my dad saying, like, I want to pay for it. He goes, you don't worry. And my dad had been, and at the time, my dad was quite a. You wouldn't call it philanthropy because we had no money, but he sold food. He was a food guy.
Okay.
And before food banks and stuff. He used to take stuff. He worked for Catelli and Green Giant.
Oh.
And he used to
two
bring
pretty big brands.
And he used to bring food to lots of different families.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
On his own, and that was his kind of payment from these guys who appreciated it.
Okay. Do you remember what year this was?
Well, it would have been
Probably
early
tough then.
'70s.
So right around
early
the same
'70s.
time.
Yeah, like early '70s,
Yeah.
but that
I
was.
don't even know when they first came out, but we couldn't have been much beyond. But maybe
Well,
a year
color
or two.
TVs were out in the '60s.
They were, eh?
Oh, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure.
I
Yeah,
guess
like
so.
we just didn't have that. Like,
No,
but
we didn't either.
But I remember that when that, and we didn't have a TV for a while.
Yeah.
While like we were figuring out, because I guess my parents were trying to save money, whatever it was, to get a TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then my dad won a Philco Ford TV. Okay, a 20-inch. We had the big 26-inch, but a 20-inch one on a roller. Okay.
Wow.
He won it in a sales contest.
Wow.
Selling. Again for Green Giant or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah, so we ended up with 2 TVs. So we used to go down. So the boys would watch Hockey Night in Canada,
Of course.
and the women and the girls, my mom and the girls, would watch Academy Performance. You remember that on CTV?
I don't remember it.
Oh, they used to have like an Academy Award-winning film that they'd show on Saturday nights opposite Hockey Night in Canada.
There's no possible way anything else
Well,
in
but-
my world existed.
But we had 2 TVs, so
Yeah,
we really do it.
that's
Now we
very
always
fortunate.
ended up in the basement watching it, where
Yeah.
we had like a rec room
Yeah.
for the hockey.
Yeah.
But that was the thing. You know what else we got? We got 25 cents as a treat to go
Yeah.
to the store
Yeah.
and have a pop and a chip,
Sure.
or a chocolate bar and a chip, whatever it was. You know what I mean?
I'd buy
And-
a comic, an RC Cola, and an O. Henry for probably $1, $1.50.
See,
You know?
yeah,
In those days.
we were very lucky.
Yeah.
We were very, very lucky. And
Different time, man.
it very simple too, eh?
Extremely
Very
simple world
simple.
when you think about it. How simple it was. You get on your bike, you bike in, you bike to school, you bike to Rideau, whatever. For the summer when I caddied, your friends, if you're able, once you started phoning them, you phone them, that to meet up or whatever. You played your amateur sports.
Yeah.
You had your little crushes. Maybe you had the odd skirmish or two. Everybody,
Speak-
every guy played hockey.
We
Like,
digress, by the way.
Every single boy played hockey.
You know what? So we didn't have that. There were a couple of kids who did not.
Okay,
play
well, there's a
hockey.
couple. We had a couple. Look, John Boygan didn't play. Roger LaBelle didn't play.
Right.
Okay, every other boy, Peter Delaney, but every other boy played.
Yeah. So listen, we digress. We were talking about Barbara Eden, and we
Yeah.
digress. So
Anyway, they're
So-
my pick.
yeah, Barbara Eden and Elizabeth Montgomery
Yeah.
are Liam's pick for the Puck Bunny of the.
Two of the best.
Okay, so now for the ladies out there,
He was a skater boy. She said, "See you later, boy." He wasn't good enough for her.
we are going to show you cool. We are going to show you a man that I would say, you know what, probably one of the the smoothest characters in the 1970s.
Is this Telly?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, baby.
Okay. Who loves you, baby?
Who loves you, baby?
Telly Savalas. Telly Savalas was Greek on wheels, and he didn't even have to deliver food. It was a Ford LTD that he drove around as Kojak. Okay, I don't know if it was a Ford LTD.
I don't know what it was either.
But it was it was kind of that brown, that light brown color.
What was
Remember that?
Sipowicz or
Yeah.
Sipowicz?
Sipowicz.
Was it?
No,
that's from
Sipowicz from
NYPD Blue.
That's right. That's
Yeah. Sapristine or something, Sipstein or something.
I
can't remember what it
all
was.
that stuff.
He was the coolest guy.
Oh, he was. He was
in Kelly's Heroes. With
He was in Kelly's Heroes. That's right.
Eastwood and Don Rickles.
He was in
and
Kelly's
Donald
Heroes.
Sutherland.
That's right. Yeah, that was a great movie, by the way.
It's one of the greatest. I don't
yeah.
care when it comes on. I watch it.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a cooler guy than him in the 70s. Could there? Like, who else would you say? I don't even know.
Well, okay.
I don't even. I know it's such a great decade.
We're not gonna. We will get into this, and he will be another, Zamboni boy.
Okay.
But
yeah,
listen, they don't get cooler than Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin. Okay?
Yeah,
we
but
got to build to that.
But you
if
wouldn't
you're
say they would not be identified with the 70s. I mean, they were because they were alive then, still performing. But
Right.
you're saying Frank. You're thinking Rat Pack. You're thinking.
Yeah, I'm thinking of this era, but
which
even
is
post,
pre 70s. Like Telly, you're thinking 70s for sure because of Kojak.
That's right.
You know,
it
when you
was
think
such
of
a
Barbara Eden and Elizabeth Montgomery, you're thinking the 60s.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
with
you're
those
right.
shows. Like, you can identify specific decades, I think, with these people, even though they crossed over.
That's right.
Telly
Yeah.
Savalas is Kojak,
Yeah.
and he always will be.
And he was cool. And he used to
There's
do
nobody
those,
cooler.
He used to do those ads for the Players Club.
Yeah.
I remember that in
Yeah.
Vegas.
Yeah.
The Players Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, he used to do that all
He's
the
had
time.
the greatest voice.
Yeah.
He was just
And he was cool, and he could wear that. He wore that.
made anything he
open,
wore look
that
great.
open shirt with the
Yeah.
chain. He made that look. I mean, and for a bald man who went like he would totally.
Yeah.
He was the first guy. Forget Jason Statham and all the new guys.
Yeah.
Telly Savalas, and he was not like crazy fit, but he was cool. The women dug him. I'll tell you.
Well, it wasn't a bodybuilder build, you know. Like you look at the guys today, and like the guy you showed from Outlander there, and how these guys look, and that's what turns women on. I get all that.
Yeah.
But Savalas didn't need that,
No.
but he wasn't like he was.
He had his 17-inch cock.
Well,
I'm just saying. I don't know if he did, but
Is this on?
Well, that's okay. This will be buried. No one will even see this part of it. And if they do, write us letters. Tell us you've seen it. That's gonna be the next Ask Liam. How big is Telly Savalas?
But that's a great pick. I was a huge fan. I don't know when he passed. I'm not sure when it was.
Oh, it's quite some time.
I know it was
ago.
quite a while ago.
You know what?
But
We'll say this.
great pick, by the way.
Who
Great
loves you, Telly? We love you.
There you go.
All right, we're back with our regular programming. We're gonna kind of wrap things up.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do a sort of summary of what's happening around the league in Canada.
Not good, Chris.
It's not good.
No.
No.
Not good.
So what seems to be the problem, Liam?
You know what? You've got a situation going on right now. Ironically, a lot of teams are sharing the same thing. They get back in games, they get scored on right away. I mean, case in point, Ottawa, but it's also happening, and it's happening in Montreal. It's happening in Toronto. Definitely happening in Edmonton. I mean, you want to talk about a morose situation because so many people had the Oilers picked to do so much this year, and right now they are second last in the league, only ahead of San Jose. I mean, it's absolutely tragic. What's going on there. And look, you want to get in this cutting the whole thing down. It's plain and simple right now. Number one, it's goaltending. They're not getting it from Campbell and Skinner. Their expected goals against. You get into these fancy stats. I don't want to be that guy.
Right.
But, I'm not saying anything against it. It's great. And they do highlight some numbers. And right now, Edmonton's goaltending is trending.
So what's their goal?
They're I don't know the actual numerical number to give you other than they are, I think, second worst to San Jose. So they're right where they should be based on where their points are, which is the hardcore number you can look at. But, I mean, you talk about right now, Connor and Leon aren't getting it done either.
No.
And I don't know, did Connor rush back? Like, I don't know what's going on. You got Montreal has got Matheson on D, Mike Matheson, who since he came back from he had a little kerfuffle there in a game a few games ago, and he just looks off. He falls at different times. He loses pucks at the blue line, things he wasn't doing earlier in the year when Montreal had a nice little start. Now they've lost 3 in a row.
Right.
Edmonton can't get a win to save their lives. Connor's back in the lineup. He's not even close to being in the top 10 in scoring. It's even though he missed a few games, I get that. But I mean, you look at Calgary got a win and Winnipeg got a win. Stop losing streaks. But there's so much turmoil going on there right now. Toronto have lost 4 in a row. At the time of this taping, Ottawa have lost 4 out of 5. Yeah, I know. We make jokes because we're not Toronto fans, but
they should be doing better.
Matthews has 3 hat tricks. He's leading the league in goals. He's racing towards another Rocket Richard, possibly a scary number. I mean, it's very, very early, too early to say he's going to score 70 or 80, but it's ridiculous how good he is. However, they keep losing.
Yeah.
Their defense is horrible. Their goaltending is right there with it. Their structure is broken down.
Well, no, but when you
they're
say
not
they're
able
both
to defend.
Hey, listen, I thought when you know what, Samsonov is he should be selling luggage, Samsonite. Okay, he's not playing well, but Wall has come in and he's played well when he's
Mostly.
So I mean, if it were me,
not every game in this 4-game streak. I know. You're saying you would go with him number one.
Well, I would flip them right now.
Well,
okay.
they have though essentially. They had to give Samsonov another start. They ran Wall right down until they did take a loss. They switched it up. I mean, they've lost 4 in a row, Chris.
Yeah.
By the time of this taping, I haven't checked the schedule this week, so I'm not sure when you're going to post this. But I mean, maybe they'll get a W. I don't know. Fact is, they don't look good.
No.
Ottawa does not look good right now. Montreal had a nice start right now the last 3 games. You played 2 teams in back-to-back scenarios where you should be at least minimally able to get a point. You crash and burn. You're coming back in games. Then you have defensive breakdowns.
But to be fair, they got points in games that nobody expected them to get.
No, I understand that. Like,
So-
the pressure isn't on Montreal because everyone's expecting them to finish down near the bottom, where they will.
Right.
But when as I say, I tell you this all the time. I text back and forth with my son Rory all the time during games, and I say what pisses me off is
I know I've intercepted a few of those.
Yes, I did. I texted you a couple. That was a late game, right? It was like 11 o'clock at night or something. And I was meant to send it to Rory, and I sent him to Chris instead. It took me about half an hour to realize. And then it's, oh, shit, man, sorry. Rory.
I was watching the game, and I was like, you know. But I didn't want to indulge, right? I didn't want to get back.
You should have jumped in.
You know, it was
we could have set up a 3-way and got Rory and you in with me.
Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. First of all, the 3-way that I'm going to get involved in does not have you in it at all.
Here I go again.
Yeah,
I say one little thing.
And I bring it around.
Into the quicksand.
That's right. You know what? You know why? Because I got women on the mind.
And that's good. That's good. I love women too. And that's great. I'm all for this.
So as we go back, speaking of women, let's talk about the Leafs. But let's talk about the Leafs. Okay, the Leafs suck, and the Sens aren't doing well. Listen, they're still almost 500. So, like, I mean, it's not the end of the world.
Ottawa's 4-6.
You know what I mean?
But they've lost 4 out of 5, obviously, and everything that's gone on off the ice is absolutely and now with the DJ Smith thing hanging over their head is a whole other scenario. You just got a new interim GM, Steos, and we'll see what happens. There's a lot of shit going on in Ottawa land, obviously, as much off the ice is on, and what's going on is that they're losing games. Then you got Brady exploding in the dressing room. So what'd you think?
I think that it was great. You know what? I'm one of those guys who admired Phil Esposito, of course, for his 1972 rant.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Should be required viewing in schools.
And I that and The Quiet Man.
Absolutely.
That's right. But
these high schools take an entire class and watch movies. Why wouldn't they watch The Quiet Man? The longest 2-man fight sequence in movie history.
Kids can't watch that.
Teach them who the Duke was. And Victor McLaughlin, who fought Joe Louis. He was a prize fighter. This is all legit. Filmed in Kong, the whole 9 yards. Historical. Then you get into Irish history. You could do the whole thing. I should teach it.
You should.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that absolutely. Yeah, that's what we need in our schools today.
Can I have a pint there?
Yeah, exactly. You know what? It would come back.
I'd be a great
The kids
teacher.
come home. Do you know what? Here's the thing. I think you would be. I think you would have a hard time in the current environment of school and education, and with the
why I wouldn't
with the narrative that they're pushing.
Oh well, that point there, a little bit different. I'd probably be that rogue guy that would sit down with the people who are designing the curriculums and whatnot, and I would challenge it, much like I did many of my teachers in high school when I felt we weren't getting enough Canadian history in grade 10 with Father Edmund. I said, look, this is ridiculous. You should be, and we had quite a little tete-a-tete, and I was 14, 15 years old. However, I digress. Fact is, I'd be a great teacher, and I think I'm charismatic enough that the kids would be on side.
Yeah.
And I could be like Robin Williams.
You could be.
In that movie.
Yeah, Captain My Captain.
Captain My Captain.
Yeah.
I'd be that guy. And you just got to get them on side, get them enthused. Let them breathe. Let them understand.
And there are some that will follow you, and yet there are others that won't. Okay, you say, we are indulging people in things we shouldn't be indulging.
Oh, but it
This is
doesn't.
not.
The ship has sailed, brother.
No, I know. If the ship has sailed, then I'm going to the bank tomorrow to take out $1 million, and they're going to go, well, you don't have $1 million. Oh, but I identify with having $1 million. They're going to say, get the fuck out, you're crazy. And I go, no.
Yeah, but you're talking about tangible versus intangible. You're talking about personal choice versus what you think, you perceive, because in your mind you said you got $1 million, but no, the bank can show, no, Mr. Haas, you don't.
That's right.
Okay?
No, you don't have a penis. You're a girl. That's it. Or you don't have a vagina. You're
That's
a guy.
not for you to say. Your job is to teach. You're going to go in there as a teacher, you teach. If you call them by the wrong name and they come up, would you please call me this, sir? Are you not going to do it? Of course you are. Of course you are. You're going to say, yes, I just need identification,
I'm an
name or number
intolerant bastard.
for roll call.
I'm
No,
an
you're not.
intolerant
If you were
bastard.
teaching, because you know you'd be out in your ass then.
I know. Well, that's the problem.
Well, I wouldn't. I would take that woman or that man or woman or boy or girl, and I would say, I need a name or an initial to identify you for roll call. Otherwise, welcome to the human race. Please, I hope you enjoy the class.
Yeah. Oh, listen.
That's what I would say.
Everybody's welcome, but don't tell me to call you a fucking pronoun. That's bullshit.
You can't.
You are who
Let's
you are.
stick with the topic here. We're
What?
teachers. If
Yeah.
we're teachers, it doesn't matter because they're going out there. They want to say she, him, they, their, whatever. But in class, let's stick with the
That's
program.
indulging people.
It doesn't matter. In class, they say they want to be. No, I'm sorry. I need a name or an initial for.
But you can't say that.
Yes, you can.
No, I don't think
yes.
so.
Well, I don't think they even call roll call anymore. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't even think they do. But, back in the day, when attendance was taken, and these things were known,
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Anyways, all I know is that no one's hiring me to be a substitute.
I don't even know how we got there.
Hey,
But
what were we talking
Brady in the
Yeah.
dressing room.
I agree with
somehow
you.
started there.
You said.
I got no
yeah.
problem with it either, with what Brady said. However, if you go on social media, and this was really hammered as well, when somebody referred to these outbursts now by the mob. They go, they're the mob. This is really, I'm telling you, Twitter is endless entertainment right now. It's
I'm glad I don't do it.
Entertainment.
I'm so glad I'm not on that.
Oh,
stuff.
it's fun. It is sit there and it's like everybody puts the memes, where you're eating the popcorn and you're just watching the shit show. I mean, it's unbelievable. But now the love affair with Brady. So this thing in Ottawa here is on the verge of imploding. What's going to happen? It's going to cost DJ his job first and foremost. We said at the start of the show, they love playing for the guy. It doesn't matter. There's been 1,000 coaches like that. Mm-hmm. Eventually they get let go. Some of them go on to win Stanley Cup still. Maybe DJ can as well. Don't think he's going to do it here. Don't think he's going to finish this season here.
Right.
I think he's going to be gone sooner rather than later. I think it's just that's
so
the way it goes.
Who are we going to pick up?
Well,
I've heard.
There's 1,000 rumors, but
yeah, but I've heard Patrick Waugh.
Yeah, I've heard his name bandied about, and I don't know. Like Patrick Waugh quit on Colorado, and his former teammate and Stanley Cup winner Joe Sakic. To me, that speaks volumes about this guy. He's such an egomaniac. He just wants to control every single solitary thing. I just don't know what general manager, Staios or otherwise, is going to come in, and Patrick Waugh is going to be able to say, I want back in coaching so badly. I'll take Ottawa, Canadian franchise. I'm from Quebec. It's not that far. All the thing it works geographically. He played in Montreal. He's got a ton of people who are fans of the guy. He's repaired all the bridges in Montreal. They retired his number, the whole 9 yards. He could come to Ottawa. I just can't see it. I mean, to me, look, Patrick Waugh and Dale Hunter are interchangeable. Dale Hunter ran the show with his brother Mark in London, and then got the offer in Washington and went to Washington. You know what he said? He said, "Fuck this, I'm out. This is bullshit. You guys, I don't. You're telling me I gotta, I gotta cater to this guy. I gotta play OV 3 minutes. I got this, that, and everything else." He said, "No, this is crap. I'm out." And he left on his own terms, and he went back to London, and he runs a mini NHL team there.
Yeah.
Guess what? Patrick Waugh does the same damn thing in Quebec.
That's right.
He's an owner there. He runs a mini NHL team there.
That's right.
They win Memorial Cups. London wins Memorial Cups. So why would he want to come here? Because he wants to coach in the NHL.
Right.
Who's he going to work for?
Okay, but the question is do you then ask yourself, if I'm an owner, I ask myself, okay, are we doing this the right way then? Should we not be giving the coach the opportunity to coach his team the way he wants to coach his team? Or this, and this happens, and I know this happens because I don't know what, not firsthand, but secondhand, okay? that you guys, if in the American Hockey League and even in the East Coast League, okay, which are developmental leagues for the NHL.
Yeah.
Okay. The coaches there don't even get to say how much ice time they're giving their guys. If they have a guy they like or whatever, we need this guy to get this many minutes, and this is what he's got to do, and you need him to use him here, you need to use him here. And it happens. I know. Like,
to a degree it happens. You still have some autonomy down there. You have some autonomy. And
but they will come down, like the NHL club will say, this is what we need out of this guy. This is what we're getting. We need him to have this.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And even if the guy is a
you're not seeing a guy being benched in the American Hockey League if he's gone down. He needs to play.
Yeah.
They're not, if worst case scenario, they'd ship him down to the East Coast League,
Right, yeah.
But they wouldn't say, okay, punitive measures that in that fashion don't exist in the AHL is a development league, like you said correctly.
Yeah.
So, look, there's been 4 guys to win the Calder Cup as head coach in the American Hockey League that have gone on to win Stanley Cup in the NHL. It's not a very big number considering both leagues have been around for over 100 years.
Yeah.
So it's the AHL not quite 100, but I mean the NHL and certainly the Stanley Cup. Anyway. It's an interesting scenario here in Ottawa. Ottawa, for the 3rd week in a row, has stayed pretty much front and center in the top hockey stories. I mean, it's incredible. And this thing with Brady last night, how he swore in the dressing room against the fans, has blown up on social media. There's as many people against him as there are for him. And there are people pissed off, as you were.
About the booing.
About the booing, about the fired DJ chant.
Yeah.
That happened. And the funny thing is, Chris, on the weekend, I had a fantastic day. I went and watched the senior team in Chesterfield, North Dundas Rockets. I want to talk about a mini NHL team. They're defending champs. They beat Cornwall 7-0. It was an amazing game. One good fight too, by the way. Anyway, I went from there. I remember I punched it in my GPS thing. 143 kilometers. Went from there to White Lake to go and watch Hockey Night in Canada with the boys. I mean, it's just there can't be many guys like me. It just can't be. Loading up with pints.
I will tell you, there are none. There are none. We've looked around. As a matter of fact,
there might be.
There's the Special Investigations Unit of all police forces around the globe are trying to find another one like you, and you know what? They can't.
Well, I don't know. There could be somebody somewhere. Anyway, we had such a good day. And you're enthralled with all the hockey that's going on. And we went last night, and I just gave that converter a workout. They let me hold a converter because the Leafs and the Habs and the Sens all played at the same time.
Yeah.
So 3 different games. So the way I do it is I go from whistle to whistle.
Right.
I've done this for years. I told the guys, it's amazing how this works. We will not miss a fight. It's incredible how it works. I don't know. It's just one of those freakish things. Anyways, we're flipping around. And so even Bryce, Ollie's son Bryce, saying, man, it's tough to get in the flow. It's a fact. I know, but we got to watch all 3 games, Bryce. So get me another pint and let's just watch.
Yeah.
And we're just flipping around. So I watched the entire Ottawa game again today.
Oh, okay.
The whole thing.
Right.
And I didn't, you watch the game? I listened in the 3rd period. I couldn't hear the chant. But yet you go online and there's guys in the stands with their cell phones and they taped it,
Oh, really?
Fire DJ, and that. But when you watch the broadcast, at least myself, I couldn't hear it.
Well, but keep in mind though when you're like the press box is well above.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have sound dampening so that they can do it from there.
Yeah,
so you're not hearing unless it's like totally crazy, and then they use the mics that they have down south, like down in the lower end.
Yeah.
Right. But they're gonna try and keep that out. Like there was another incident. Remember I told you, I said, did you see that? Evan called me because he was watching in the States, and they never showed that, and we didn't see that at all. It was kind of covered up.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what you might see on one thing, you don't get on the other because it's not part of that broadcast, or they certainly don't want people to think.
Turn the clock back 10 years, the incident in Montreal was publicized. Like it was, they always played national anthem. You could hear it. It was a whole thing that started not organically, but it just, anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no.
But the point is, we could hear it.
That's right.
Whereas the one you're referencing, we
didn't hear it.
We didn't know. So Evan phoned you and you didn't know.
I didn't know about it, and then he sent me a clip, which it clearly showed that, and I was a little pissed off about it. But then every time I would see it on the Canadian feeds or anything like that, you would never hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they just as I'm gonna edit this and take on anything that makes me look bad. You know what I mean? Like me, it'll just be Liam from now on. Okay. But I'll edit a few things. Listen.
I'd say the diet's working great. You're looking great.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Fuck. Go to put on some clothes today. Like last night we went to a party. And I think, okay, this is what I'm gonna wear, and I go to put on this shirt, which I loved. I love this shirt, and I can't. It doesn't. It's too tight. Like it's a great shirt. If I lose,
Gotta quit working out.
wow, yeah, exactly. So I've got the breasts going, right, and that's where I've got a lot of the weight here. The breasts and the stomach. Like my legs are rock solid. Like I'll tell you this. Like there's very few people who have my legs, and I'm, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'll put my legs up against fucking anybody. But I got to tell you, it's this chestular area here, and I've got like I know women who don't have tits like mine. And you know what? And mine don't sag either. Like they're pretty damn good. Like, honest to
You
God.
should think of changing your name, maybe. I don't know.
You know what? Yeah, exactly. My new pronoun. Fuck. It's gonna be a capital HIM. Like I think I'm a god.
With $1 million in the bank.
with $1 million in the bank, which I don't have. You know what I mean? But
anyway, Brady eruption. Things are not well here in Sens land. There's a collision course coming. I believe the Ying's going to meet the Yang, and DJ's going to lose his gig, and it's a sacrificial lamb. You could make the case. However, at the end of the day, his track record, and the thing is, people are using Boston as a benchmark. Even though they finally had their first regulation loss last night to blow a lead against Detroit, doesn't matter. Detroit's had a pretty decent start.
Yeah,
they're playing better. They're one of those teams, right? Detroit and Buffalo and Ottawa and New Jersey, kind of like the four teams
that you expect a little bit from, but not a lot.
No, but they're all sort of ascending.
Yeah.
They're all in the same elevator.
Right.
Going up. I mean, maybe Jersey's a little higher, but Ottawa is right there. Supposed to be right there. Detroit's supposed to be a little bit back.
Yeah.
Detroit gets win against Boston. Boston's using no-name defense right now.
Yeah.
No name. And you lose Bergeron, you lose Krejci, and they had a better start than they did last year when they set the record, Chris.
I know. And
Your team.
I know. This is the thing. But
it's unbelievable.
you know what? I honestly believe that the Bruins, every player buys in to the program.
You took the words right out of my mouth. The structure, the Boston philosophy, the structure there. And you know who absolutely, what's the word? Emboldens that? No, embraces that. Frederick.
Yeah.
He to me, he could play in any era. He is this era's Pie-Faced McKenzie.
Pie-Faced McKenzie?
That's who he is.
Okay, so hang on. Who is Pie-Faced McKenzie? Because I like the guy already because I like pie. And he's a McKenzie, so he's got some Scottish background. Or whatever.
Johnny McKenzie.
Okay.
Yeah, Johnny McKenzie.
Is that what they call him?
Yeah, pie-face.
I
His
didn't know
face is shaped like a pie.
Okay, well,
It was one of the greatest nicknames ever. Guy was fractious. He was belligerent. He was aggressive. He was talented. Like he's more talented than Frederick, but Frederick is the exact same type of player that Pie-Face McKenzie was. Pie-Face McKenzie's a Stanley Cup winner.
Yeah,
with the Boston
That's
Bruins.
right. Yeah,
he played with Orr and Esposito and Hodge and Cashman and Busick and all the boys. And he went to the WHA and he starred there. And the Whalers actually ended up retiring his number. That was more of that was a whole other story. But anyways, he retired his number. But to me, Frederick, the Boston, there's a philosophy there. You jump a Bruin, you got a dozen guys.
Yeah,
they don't care. That's ingrained in that system.
Yeah.
I don't agree with what Charlie did, and he's paying his penance. He's trying to get it reduced for whatever reason. Somebody said it, made a good point last night. I'm trying to remember what it was. Talking so much hockey yesterday. Somebody somewhere between Chesterville and White Lake, somebody said something to me that went, you know what, that's a damn good point. Then I got another beer, so I forget what it was.
Okay.
But Charlie, he won't get that reduced. Regardless, the guy, I love the guy. He could play on my team any day.
Oh, he's beautiful.
I love the guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, they have philosophy there. They don't screw around. Yeah, they blew it last year. They got to eat that. I don't know if they got a cup contending team this year or not. No, we've kind of rambled on here. But Brady did. The one thing we're not talking about today, we're saying DJ because he's come up in conversation. But you know what everybody online is talking about? They're talking about Brady. They're talking about Brady's outburst. I wonder if a percentage of what Brady did last night was to take the heat off DJ, because everybody's on Brady right now.
Wow.
Nobody's talking. I mean, I shouldn't say nobody. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
DJ's trending and everything else. But when I say trending, I mean Twitter is trending. But the majority of people are talking about Brady.
Well, good though.
And that
you know what? Here's the thing. I like the kid. I don't care if people don't like what he said. I love what he said. Stood up for his team.
Yeah.
Stood up for his coach.
Yep.
Stood up for what he believes in.
Yeah.
And you know what? And if you don't like that, you know what? You can fuck yourself.
He also
right?
had a hell
That's
of
the
a
way I
game
do.
last night.
He's got a hell of a game all the time.
He's the best
The guy-
overall captain in the NHL, in my opinion. Best overall captain.
Yeah, you know what?
I know
me,
you got to
right?
look down all
Yeah.
lists and see the names, and you're going to say, "Oh, hold on, Liam." Like, well, he hasn't won a Stanley Cup. He hasn't even played a playoff
Oh yeah, but
game.
okay, but so
you know,
I have a question.
Mark Stone
But
carried the
is-
cup last year as a
What is
captain.
Matthew Tkachuk? He's not the captain. Is he not the captain?
No,
No,
Barkov
he's not.
is.
Oh, Barkov is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think that's a mistake. Because he's a great hockey player.
Well, it looked all right
He's
last
not-
year, right? I mean, they made a miraculous run of the. Now they're starting to play a little bit better lately.
Yeah.
It's still early, Chris. It's still early, but it's getting. What's that expression? It's getting late early. You know,
Yeah.
because teams are like the Edmontons. And now, say in Ottawa, you said this an hour ago because we've been going for a while.
I know.
That,
Sorry, we apologize.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Hey, listen, stay tuned though. This is great stuff.
I don't know. I hope it is. I don't know. Anyways, I'm almost done a second pint here, so I know it's probably time to shut her down. But I mean, the thing is that Matthew Tkachuk is a hell of a player too, and we saw that in the playoffs last year. I mean, right up until that last series, and even through the start of it, he would have got a ton of Conn Smythe votes.
Oh, absolutely.
And he still got votes, but they gave it to the right guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Marshall went to another level, and he's playing great again this year too.
Well,
for
and
Vegas,
it's hard not to give it to the winning
by
team.
the way, Vegas hasn't lost yet in regulation.
Well,
They're still undefeated.
Listen, that West is a pretty exciting division.
They beat
If you look-
Colorado 7-0, Chris. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Hello.
Well, that's.
I mean, this is scary shit.
But they haven't played Vancouver yet, then.
No, they haven't. And look, that was the game of the weekend. We watched it last night in White Lake, Vancouver and Dallas. That was such an
I didn't see it.
amazing
Was it?
hockey game. Oh my God. And Demko was unreal. 2-0 Vancouver. You want to talk about structure right now? Is Rick Tocchet, like if there was coach of the year in the NHL right now, he'd get it. I mean, we're 10 games in.
Right.
But I mean, the Jack Adams would be his. But it's still too I tell you all the time. We all know it. I know you know this, but everybody knows this. American Thanksgiving is the first,
it's a
which is
benchmark.
right around the corner.
That's right. Next
And then
month.
it's Christmas.
3 weeks, yeah.
And then it's trade deadline. All-Star game, then All-Star game, then trade deadline. There's your 4 parts of
Yeah.
the season. You break it
Well,
in.
listen. Here's the thing. If by Christmas, you have the Thanksgiving thing, okay?
Yeah.
That's when they're
That's eerie, eh?
that's when the coaches start to get fired,
Yeah.
right? And then they want it. And if they haven't been fired by then, they've been fired by Christmas time, okay?
Yeah.
And they have to have a change. Then they say, okay, now we're heading into January. Do we actually have a legitimate shot, or do we start shopping our rentals? Okay. And so through the month of January, even though it's leading up to the All-Star game and guys are playing for that and all this stuff, the GMs are starting to shop their rentals, right?
Yeah.
And then post All-Star game, that's when they go hard because the trade deadline is like right after.
Well,
Trade deadline's like weeks after that.
The thing is here in Ottawa, you've got your core signed and you're ready to make that next step. Then you get decimated with injuries. So that the point I made 10 minutes ago about Boston is they've been equally decimated by injuries, yet they were able to maintain.
Right.
Despite last night, you're going to lose games, and despite last night, and they barely lost as it was. They just have such an incredible persona about them. You hit the nail on the head there.
Well,
I know they're your team.
Yeah, I know.
So you follow them closely more than anybody. But the point is, your team they have that, and I love that about them.
Yeah.
I love that about them. And Ottawa, I mean, Brady was a one-man show last night. He was in the middle with, Jeannot wanted to go him so badly. Well, he took a penalty, dropped the glove, and Brady scored in the power play.
Yeah.
I mean, Brady last night was... I just love the guy. I think he's the best overall captain. All things in. I mean, he's my second favorite senator only because I know Claude Giroux personally.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only reason. I said that to the guys last night. They all know it anyway. How can you not like Brady? He
No, you
drops the
can't- yeah.
gloves and he puts his fist right through your skull.
You know what he does?
And then he can score. And the guy's talented. Like,
You
he's
know
unbelievable.
what he does? There's an expression that he leads from the front.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
He's
he
a guy
leads from the
going in
front.
front.
He's not a guy who directs. He's not a guy who pushes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
he's a guy who fucking pulls.
Yeah.
And listen, by the way, the bus is leaving and I'm driving it, so you guys had better get on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's and you got to respect and love a player like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
He drags everybody into the fight. They
right.
came so close to making that a 1-goal game last night. I don't think some of those goals, I don't know what the hell happened on that Elizamont goal there. I know it hit sticks, went over the shoulder, but I mean, Jesus. Like, some of the goals.
There's puck luck.
First
too,
of all,
right?
Braden Point and Kucherov combined for 9 points last night. Look, these guys played in 3 straight finals and won 2 cups. You're talking Stanley Cup winning goals, Conn Smythe trophies, Art Ross. Like, these have been 2 of the best players in the NHL the last half dozen years.
and
you know what, Chris? They took that game over last night.
Well, Kucherov
They took it over.
Phenomenal.
Well,
He's phenomenal.
when he wants to be, and right now they are not what they were. Right? There's 12 guys gone off that roster from when they won that last cup. Okay, 12 guys.
They're still
gone.
a damn good team.
They're still a damn good team. And by the way, they don't have Vasilevsky.
Yeah.
So they're doing all this with
That's right.
whatever his name is. You know, what, Johansson or whatever his name is.
I don't even.
I mean, there's so many goalies who've already played this year. It's unfreaking believable. Try and keep up. It's crazy. But I mean, you know, I don't think necessarily any of the goals Ottawa scored were bad goals against them. It's just Ottawa's willed them in. Like the power play goals. Anyway, they almost made it a 1-goal game. Like Tarasenko had that chance. Otherwise, 6-5, man. It's 6-5, and then it's anybody's thing.
Right.
Last minute, pulling a goalie. I think it was a hell of a game to watch. And the Leafs blew it, and the Habs just sort of folded, you know? The Habs kept creeping back. They'd make it a 1-goal game, and then St. Louis come back.
Yeah.
Like a short-handed breakaway at the start of the third period. Killed them. Made it 4-2. They never recovered from that. And that was it. But Slavkovsky scored his first goal of the year on a power play.
You like him, eh?
I like him, but the mistake they made last year was not sending him to the World Juniors. And now that he scored, you know what? They played him with Suzuki and Caulfield
Okay.
last night. So you find.
Listen, I could play with them and do
Well, I think that's the point, right? We're at the point where you can throw him up there. You throw him up there with those guys. Now Caulfield hasn't scored in a while, but
That's why he scored like 2 games ago.
no,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I-
Suzuki did. I don't know. Caulfield, he's getting a point a game anyway.
Yeah. Well-
They got a kind of a meaningless goal there. Like he shot the puck. He shot Montreal's third goal came with a minute and a half to go in a 4-goal game. And
Listen, all I know is this, and I don't watch Montreal like you do all the time.
yeah, you mean
But
every single minute.
That's right. Okay, but it seems like for the longest time, every time I would turn on highlights or I'd be at the pub,
Caulfield scoring.
No, it'd be another fucking shootout with Montreal involved.
Oh yeah, well
Montreal was taking it to overtime.
They've only won 2 games in regulation this year,
You know,
so let's get
but-
carried away. The Habs are what the Habs are. Remember that clip there, the NFL guy?
Yeah.
The Bears are who we thought they were. I mean, it's the same thing here. And I said it with Rory last night. Did I text you accidentally?
No.
I was texting with Rory from White Lake. He's working at the mill bartending. I'm in White Lake. I was probably drinking more than anybody at the bar at the mill. Anyways, it's so much fun. I just had a great day yesterday.
I'm glad. It's really good.
I was saying to Rory, oh boy, the slide's on. But they structurally don't have. Regardless, it's amazing how many stories. This happens all the time.
Yeah.
Start of every season, you never know what it's going to be. There's a ton of stories from Vancouver's success to Edmonton's lack of success to Rick Bowness hasn't coached for 6 games. He's still with his wife. Like she's God bless her. Let's hope she's going to be okay. And Scott Arneal's running Winnipeg. They got a big win last night. Comeback win against Arizona, by the way. It's just good to see. Calgary finally got a win. But, I mean, Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal are right now on a serious skid as we tape this show. And we'll see what this week brings.
Yeah. I think that's all we can say for now. This has been Offside with Haas and McGuire. I'm Haas.
I'm McGuire.
G'day.
G'day.
He